Welcome back to AYS Fight Club. Thanks for joining the club tonight. I am your host, Daniel Dees. Alongside me, as always, is Matt Bricker. Matt, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, man. So we finally got our sponsor. We got the bag. We did it. All right. They said it couldn't be done. Here it is. Pristine Home and Lawn. It's locally licensed and insured lawn care and residential commercial power washing service. It'll clean everything from brick and siding, driveways, parking lots, roofs, fences and more. Bundle your home wash with lawn care and receive 15% off from now until the end of 2020. Like and share their Facebook page after you receive your free quote for an additional 10% and make your house pristine again. That is 25% off a pressure washing and some lawn care. You can't beat that. All right. So go at them on Facebook, share, get your quote, get your 25% off. All right, Matt. So last week, end of an era, Anderson Silva. So what do you think? Like, what is his legacy in your opinion?
We kind of touched on that a little bit, my opinion, as far as how that'll end up going when we went over our GOAT list. I think he's always going to have that little bit of taint. It's always going to have a little bit of an asterisk. But just overall, I mean, just even before, his UFC days and coming in with the Chris Lieben debut and just the 10 title defenses. I mean, it's unspeakable what he did. I mean, it was just, he was everyone wanted to be the Spider. Everybody who came up was, this is going to be the next Anderson Silva. He was kind of the first to be, who's going to be the next. There's always who's going to be the next Babe Ruth, who's going to be the next Michael Jordan, but for MMA it was always who's going to be the next Anderson Silva. He kind of set that precedent as who's going to be the next of this individual.
Yeah, because from like 2006 to 2012, he was the highlight reel. He was like this untouchable force that you just couldn't get around. He was a problem that couldn't be solved. Like he was 16-0 in that whole span of 7 years. He 16-0. Six of those 16 fights, 14 of them were stopped. And like not only were they stopped, like these were like knockout of the nights. Like they weren't just some froofy TKO. No, these were like highlight reel stoppages. It was 11 title fights. And here's a stat I saw that just blew me away. His significant strike differential during that run was plus 227. That is ridiculous. People just didn't hit him. But then Father Time came in the form of Chris Lieben. Ever since then, 2013, 2020, he was 1-7. I mean, because I think that's what stopped him from GOAT status. I think after that Stephan Bonnar fight, if he would have retired, I think we'd all put him like 1, 2, or 3. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. After that Bonnar fight, that was when he had the Weidman one right after, and it was just kind of downhill from there. And I mean, you don't know. I mean, we always talk about it. I know we've said it several times before. The Ronda Rousey syndrome. You don't know what maybe that Chris Weidman knockout had on him. It could have had some kind of mental, where he got caught and he just, some people don't take losses as well. I mean, it could have affected him some sort of way. I mean, you never know in the sport. The mental part of it is a huge aspect of the sport, and I don't know, that was kind of downhill. He took that loss, and it was kind of downhill from there.
Yeah, you could totally tell. Like as soon as he lost to Weidman after he got his legs snapped in half, you could tell like he was like that confidence, that swagger was no longer in the octagon with him. It's like he was scared to press forward. He was scared to like do his counter strike like he was always doing, but. And Saturday, it looked like that return against Uriah Hall, he was going forward. So I thought we were going to see like a rejuvenated Anderson, but then again, Uriah Hall, props to him for weathering a storm. I mean, even though it's not the Anderson Silva of old, it was still Anderson Silva, one of the most elite strikers this sport's ever seen. So props to Uriah Hall for overcoming that Anderson storm and getting the job done in the 4th round.
Yeah, Uriah Hall was one of those that was coined as the next Anderson Silva too, whenever he come through tough. So I mean, all ends in full circle.
Yeah. Speaking of tough, we're going to get back to that in just 1 second. Let's get back to Uriah Hall before we jump into the return of the Ultimate Fighter. Uriah Hall, after the end of the fight, he was like begging for a title shot against Izzy. So do you think he's within his rights to call that, or you think he just needs some more stink behind him to go forward?
No, he needs some more. I mean, he's always been that one. Just when he starts to go on that roller coaster, he comes right back down. He needs to get a little bit more sustained momentum behind him before he starts making, calling shots like that. He has the ability. He's got the flash, the knockout ability, but he needs to sustain his drives, so to speak, and show he can be a little bit more consistent than what he's been so far.
But I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I think he should be the replacement in case Jan gets pulled. I think Uriah Hall should be able to stand by to replace him, because we talk about the mental aspect of the game, and when we talk about when Uriah Hall, when he was in that mental headspace on the Ultimate Fighter, he was just the most dominant Ultimate Fighter contestant we've ever seen. So while he's in this headspace, I say why not just throw him in there? Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, and ask for it. I mean, can't urge you to ask for it,
Yeah, I mean, as a teacher, I'm not going to call on you if you don't raise your hand.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the Ultimate Fighter. It's back. I'm super pumped about this. So, let's go through the time machine. Let's talk about Ultimate Fighter. When you think of that name, the Ultimate Fighter, let's go back to the Ultimate Fighter. Let's get Austin in on the show. He's here. Austin Swallow. All right. Here he is. Austin. What's up,
guys?
Hey, what's going on, Austin?
Hey, sorry about being a little late, man. I just finished up some sparring rounds, so.
Hey, don't apologize. You're the A side, baby.
Hey.
All right, so Austin, Gulf Coast MMA Bantamweight champion. You're the first guest ever. So
yeah, man.
Before you got on, we were talking about Anderson Silva. Was he a fighter you've looked up to when you were first starting?
Yeah, man. Silva, I know it's probably sounds cliche or whatever, but Silva was actually the first fight I ever seen. I didn't even know MMA or fighting was a thing you could get paid for. And one day, one of my family members, they showed me him on YouTube or something, and he was just knocking everybody out. And I was like, man, people get paid to do this? And that was my first introduction to combat sports.
Hey, man. I'm glad you watched it. Now you in it, and now you're with us.
Yeah, man. He was my favorite fighter for a very long time, and then until John Jones came in, then I went to him.
Oh, I understand, John Jones.
Yeah.
All right, Austin. So your fight coming up. Who are you fighting? What's his name? What do we know about this dude?
All right. If he shows up, I will be fighting Gage Gill.
Gage Gill. He did pull out against you before, didn't he?
He pulled out, man.
Why do you think he pulled out?
He had his reasons, as they always do, but the fact of the matter is he pulled out.
All right.
I've never pulled out a fight. Don't think I ever would. It's just
we respect that.
Yeah, you sign the contract, show up, man. There's a lot of work that goes into this, and on both sides, on their side, my side, and just show up, man. Just be respectful and show up.
All right, what do you think you're getting with Gage Gill? Have you seen? I mean, I'm looking at his page. He's only had one fight. Have you seen it?
Yeah. So actually, my last opponent was Anthony Molson.
Yeah, Anthony Molson.
Yeah, that was I did not want that fight. Let's make that very clear. All respect to Mr. Molson. I respect him as a martial artist, as a fighter. He's game. He's game as they come. But I did not want that fight, man. I'm more into I want to be tested, right? I plan on going pro with this, and the easy fights are just see. I don't even like saying that, man, because it's a fight, but
I know what you mean.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying. If anybody in the fight, they understand what I'm saying. I want somebody that terrifies me. And when Gage backed out, it was hard to find a replacement. One other guy stepped up. He pulled out, and I was left with 2 weeks' notice. And then Molson was the only one that stepped up. So props to him for stepping up. But yeah, man, I did not want that fight. The difference between me and him is Gage asked for that fight. He wanted that fight, and to me, that shows me a lot of where his mindset is and where he views himself, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But For an amateur, like a fight on 2 week notice as an amateur, when you're prepared to fight someone like Gage Gill, and then you're put in there with Mulsanne, that was a test for you, and you passed with flying colors. Like you got him out of there in round 1.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good fight, man. I watched it. I was impressed.
Yeah, man. I wish it would have went a little longer, man. Like I said, a lot of work goes into these fights, man. These fight camps, and at the end of the day, I just want a good fight. I'm over like the results, man. Just let me find out where I am at, and who I am as a martial artist. And but those fights will come. Those fights will come, and shit, Gage might be the one to bring that to me. He is a scrappy kid. I'm not doubting that. He's got a lot of tenacity about him, but he's not. His technique is very scrappy. Like he wants to fight too much, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, he wants to be the guy who fights in the phone booth. He wants to be in your face. So when I think of that present day fighter, that reminds me of that would be someone like Mike Perry.
Right.
All right, but I just had a thought and it just escaped me. I'm sorry. I'm pretty dumb, so yeah, forgive me.
I'm trying to get used to this camera. Like this camera is like it's like backwards. I don't know. maybe it's just on my phone or something. I don't know.
Hey man, it's all good. It's all good.
What's up? Who we got here?
That's the boss man.
Blake,
we can't
Blake, how you doing?
You couldn't hear me. I'm working on that A side. Just give me just a minute. I'll flip your camera. So just
okay, cool.
Just hang tight with me.
All right. He's our tech guy. He's the boss. He runs the whole thing.
All right.
All right. So Austin, what did you think of the Uriah Hall performance the other night? Do you think he should be in line for a title shot against Adesanya?
No, bro. Like,
you don't think so?
Not even close, man. Like, Uriah Hall's good, man, but is he top tier? I don't think so. I mean, you got to realize, like, Silva still, but he was beating him the first 2-3 rounds pretty clearly, I thought.
Yeah.
You know,
I think we lost your mic.
I had a phone call. I put that on Do Not Disturb. Maybe that'll help that.
Yeah, it's all good.
But yeah, man, Silva was beating him. I thought for the first, didn't it stop in the 4th?
Yeah, it was the 4th round TKO.
Yeah. So like up until like the 3rd round, Silva was winning. So it's like, and that's an old Silva. Izzy would just light him up, man. Like it wouldn't even be close, bro.
Yeah. All right, Austin, you got a shout out from Tyler Hill on Facebook.
Hey,
Inside in the house,
the Hitman.
The Hitman. All right, we need to get him on the show too.
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all what. Funny story. Me and Tyler Hill were actually scheduled to fight my second fight.
Okay.
We were actually scheduled to fight for I think it was Bayou Fighting Champ Tim Crater show.
Yes.
And then Gulf Coast came to me with the title shot. So I was like, man, I want the Tyler Hill fight, but the belt was the belt, and I want the belt, of course, you know.
The belt, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. But here present day, me and Tyler Hill are like very good friends. He's one of my main sparring partners. We cross train together every week. And I'm super thankful that me and him never had to fight, man. It would have been a fucking hell of a fight, I promise you. Like, me and him go at it. He is good, man. He's 3-0, 4-0, something like that. He's undefeated. But dude, that kid is good, man. I'm glad he's going up to 45 even, because
that's awesome.
Get out my weight class, man.
All right. Austin, fighting out of Lake Charles, y'all just got hit with a huge storm. Everybody knows that. So our thoughts were with you with that. So
yeah, man, cool.
So how did fighting get you past this little hump of your life? Like, did it help you? Did it help you take your mind off things, or?
Yeah, I mean, shouts to Keeg. What's up, my brother? Yeah, man, of course. I mean, fighting's my escape for everything. You know, like, that's like the main reason I do it is because, like, when day-to-day life for everybody is just so full of distractions, social media, so much bullshit, shit that doesn't even matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
We let ourselves get so caught up in it, you know, and I still fall victim to it too. I try to catch myself more, you know, but the only time that nothing matters is when you're fighting, man. And that's one of the best things about martial arts is the escape from reality you get, right?
Yeah.
And so man, so having that, to fall back on is that was just another obstacle, man. We fighters fight, man. You just keep pushing, show up to the next one, and just fucking keep the journey going, man. It doesn't matter what's happening outside of this shit. Like, if you want to fight, man, you're gonna find a way to fight.
That's right. All right. So you're fighting out of Performance Evolution.
Yes, sir. PE gang.
PE gang. All right.
Yes,
What can you tell us about your gym, man?
We are the best stand-up gym in the world. I don't care what anybody says.
All right. I'll take it. I'll take your word for it.
Hey, our coach just won the World Karate Combat Championship. You can't tell me nothing, right? So,
And I won't tell you nothing, man.
I have 100% like confidence in my team, man. Like the levels that we have to deal with day-to-day basis of our striking, man. And don't get it. A lot of people think, we're just strikers. That used to be the case. Our ground game is getting there. Don't sleep on us, man.
I will not do such a thing, man. All right, so Performance Evolution, PE gang. So who are some other fighters we should be looking out for over there?
Out of my gym, so we got Bruce. So this night we have, I think it's 6 of us fighting. We got Connor Caswell. That's my best friend since like middle school. He's coming off of a fire debut. You couldn't have asked for a better performance on a debut. He just shouts to Seth Morosky for hanging in there, but he just lit him up, man, for 3 rounds. And he showed a lot of skill, man. And he got a lot of people's attention that day. And so a lot of people are looking forward to his upcoming fight. We got Patrick Richard. He took a little time off of his last one. He had some things he had to figure out, but he's elevating his game, and he flipped the switch that when I see him across, like, he's one of my main sparring partners. When I see him across there, I'm like, all right, fuck, I'm about to go with Pat. It's like, man, it's one of those, like, you kind of like, ugh, damn it, I got Pat this round, like, but he comes to fight, man. Colin Richard, he finally got his first win. He's 1-3, but trust me, that 1-3 doesn't mean shit. Colin Richard is an animal, bro. Like,
yeah, man. Records in MMA, I think that never tells the whole story of the fighter. It never has, never will. If you go by record, everybody would think Mark Hunt was garbage, but that's far from the case. I will never crap on a fighter based off their record ever in my life.
Hey, A-Side, we have a comment on Twitter, and I can't get to it. So let me just throw it out there. So people that follow my show on AYS Sports, that we've had on World Series champions, we've had on former NFL quarterbacks. The question basically is asking, you're a champion, right? And you've won a belt. When you're in the biggest stage of your career in that belt and you're fighting, take us through that mentally, right? So mentally, when you go in that octagon, when you go in that cage, when you eat, regardless, take us through that mentally. Like, are you guys like taken back by it, or? And I wish I could go through the question, and it's not pulling up, but it's Bayou Brian on Twitter wants to ask that question.
Okay, so he wants to know the thought process of defending a title, right?
Well, yeah, and basically, like from a fan's perspective, I mean, you guys are fighters, but from a fan's perspective, like, hey, man, I'm going in there. You're the elite of the elite, right? And so for a Rudy Poo guy like me, I'm just sitting here like, oh, shit, this dude just punched this guy in the face, okay? Like that kind of stuff. Take us through that. Like, man, when you get that belt around your waist, take us there, your emotions, the feeling, the training that goes into something like that.
Okay. That's a pretty broad question. Man, that's another thing of fighting, man. There's emotions you feel that are almost impossible to explain. Win, lose, it's a game full of emotion. And so when I won the belt, of course, that felt phenomenal. Like, I put so many years into this, and it's just amateur, and I'm very aware of that. And whatever about whoever I fought for it or whatever, it was still cool to get that reward for the years of work that I put in. And like my coach said it best, I think I won the belt 18 seconds, I think, and he's like, I was like, and in the back, I was so filled with emotion, and I was crying and shit. And I was like, man, it was just so easy. Like, I didn't expect it. And he was like, it takes a lot of time to win in 18 seconds, right? But you get that, and it feels good. Like, the belt, like, I still got it. I don't know if I can flip this camera. It's right there on my mantle. You know, it's right there. But it doesn't last long. Like, I have to, like, I'll lose track of that a lot. Like, I forget I'm the champion because I don't want to hold no weight to that because that just strokes your ego, right? And it's, you got to be happy about it, but you can't let that be you.
Yeah, I get
That
that.
makes sense. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense. But I'm sorry. I'm just a jiu-jitsu guy.
Right.
Yeah. But if I were ever to step in the cage and I get that belt, you would never see me without that thing around my waist. I'll be walking in like the grocery store, picking up my kid from daycare. Like, oh, what, this whole thing? Nah, don't worry about that. You don't know nothing about
Not
that.
on my worst day, pal. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man, it's cool. And don't get it wrong, I did that for like probably a week after the fight. You know,
Oh, I do it every day, man.
I was proud, but man, you got to just forget about that one and worry about the next show. And like I said in the
Exactly.
interview with Matt, man, if you let yourself get too attached to that and you lose it, I'm a fan of the sport, man. Like Izzy says, I'm just a fan. You know, like I don't miss a show. I watch almost every interview, Hawani show, all that, man. And I've seen the pros. You know, like they get so caught up in that belt, and when they lose it, they forget who they are. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I can make the argument that's what happened to Anderson Silva after he lost to Weidman. Like, he was never the same guy after that.
Yeah, and so you have to like learn from their mistakes. And so yeah, at the same time, I'm super proud of the belt and I love it, and I don't ever want it to go anywhere. But if it does ever go, it's not the end of the world, and I promise you I will get it back. But we're not even going to talk about it. Like, that's whatever. Like I said, the main goal is always to just go in there and just feel alive. That is it. Like, that's it. Win, lose, let's feel some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, when I compete in the grappling circuit, for me, tell me if you feel the same way. When that time starts, all of a sudden, those 5 minutes, that 5 minute round feels like it lasts hours. Do you feel the same way? Like, you just like time just is just completely different.
It's super different. So like, I remember my first fight with Austin Coleman. I like right when
Very
like
personal decision.
Yeah, that was good fight, Coleman. I wish we could run it back, but we're pretty cool now. Like, I'm sure we'll see each other in the pros though. But so like right when the fight started, it was like I was watching myself outside of my body, and I had to like catch myself and be like, "Oh fuck, I'm really fighting this dude," you know, right now. So it's a very weird experience. But as far as the time, it is like I don't feel like it's long or short. Like, it's just I like to just be, and I enjoy fighting. Like, I love it, man. It's the best thing in the world. And so like it doesn't. I think if you're probably getting your ass beat, yeah, it's probably a long ass time, right? Like even when Demas Chopper was on top of my head pounding it in, it didn't. Time flew by. Like, you just, as long as you love it, I think it flies by.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of Demas Chopper, I'm coming for his ass. I promise you that. Win that belt, and I promise you, just give me the rematch, bro. Since it was so easy for you. All the refs saved me. I appreciate you, ref. Thank you so much. Thanks for the lesson, ref. Oh, thank y'all. I've been working on my jiu-jitsu. Come do it again. I promise you it will not go the same way. He knows that. He remember how I felt in there. He remembers every single shot I hit him with. And
all right, so Demas, if you're watching, man, be on the lookout.
He's a fan. He's a fan. Don't get it twisted. He's super watching. Him and all his little homeboys.
Hey.
Hey, I respect Demas. Don't get it twisted. He's good, man.
Oh yeah, I've always noticed it's about fighters. I've always noticed about fighters. Even if there's bad blood, there's still that mutual respect there.
Yeah.
Like Conor Khabib, there's that respect there, but man, it was heated.
So with that Demas stuff, Matt, awesome article on Demas. Great. I didn't get knocked
Appreciate
out, but great article.
Hey, I go off of Tapology.
I know, bro. I know. I'm giving you a hard time. Don't shoot the messenger, right?
Right.
So with Demas, man, I think a lot of people took that wrong. Like, oh, he won't accept defeat. The dude won the competition. No one's contesting that. The dude, he won the competition. But don't go around talking about you knocked me out, bro. Oh, the ref saved you. From what I remember, the only thing sore on me the next day was my forearms from him punching them. Not a single knot on my head, not a cut on my eye, nothing, bro. In the wild, I think that fight goes a lot different. You're going to gas out eventually, brother. So, anyway.
I think we should run it back just based off this. What would it hurt?
It won't hurt anything, but I don't think he wants that. Bro, trust me, he felt every one of those strikes. Them leg kicks, man, trust me, he felt me, and he didn't like how it felt. I remember the look in his eyes across the cage. And that shot, he shot that takedown, sloppy takedown, he still got it. That was my bad. But early in the game, amateur career, who gives a fuck? Give me that fight back since it was so easy, Demas, and you about to win this belt, hopefully beat Jordan Woodall or whatever his name is. I'll be rooting for Demas. I like Demas as a person. Just competition. I got to get that one back. And I'll keep my belt with Gage Gill. So, fuck, you get your belt. I got my belt. What's up?
Hey, I'm all about some champ fights. Let's do it. Let's run it.
I don't care. He can come try to take mine. I'll go try to take his. I don't give a damn about none of that. Let's fight, bro.
Hey, I'd rather you go take his because that's Tim Crater's promotion. It's a lot closer to me. We'll be there.
Well, I think he's the promotion he's fighting for is AKA. That's Amber Bishop.
That's the one in Shreveport. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they run a great show as well. Yeah.
That one's next weekend, Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that's with Demas, and we got Atlas this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'll be in Biloxi for Atlas this weekend. I'll be in Shreveport the next weekend, and I'll be with y'all in Hattiesburg the week after. So,
are you like commentary or something?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, we'll be
no.
doing color. Yeah, I'll be doing the color commentary for Fight TV pay-per-view tomorrow on Atlas.
And I'm just a Fight TV watcher, so I'm staying my ass at home, drinking. I have cigar ready, so
Yeah.
that's my position in life.
Hopefully, I put on a good show for you guys, man.
I don't doubt it. Don't doubt it.
But yeah,
All
sorry
right.
to go on about that tangent about Demas.
Hey,
I do
man.
not like losing. I hate losing more than anything.
Hey, that's how champions are made. If you're comfortable with losing, you're not championship material.
People talking about, oh, you got a sore loser. Yeah, I am a fucking sore loser. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Hey,
You
all the
have to
best
keep
winners
reminding
are the
me.
sorest losers.
You have to keep reminding me every time.
Hey, that's
I'm
your
gonna forget
motivation,
soon
man.
after.
That's your motivation.
Yeah.
So yeah, Austin, bantamweight champion. Speaking of bantamweights, Ultimate Fighter's coming back, and it's gonna be middleweight and bantamweights. I wish they would have held off on that so we could possibly see you on there. Do you think that's in your future, man?
I don't know if I would do the Ultimate Fighter route, man.
You don't think so?
That to me, that is the hardest way in, I believe, man.
I think so too.
Like I think if you don't have much promotion skill, you don't have a big following, or maybe not the right management, I think that's a route you could take. But there's so many different avenues now, especially with the Contender Series, man. That's what I would like to do. Contender Series eventually.
Louisiana guys have a good streak on Dana White's Contender Series. We had Kurt Hollabaugh, Brennan Allen.
Yeah.
Hey, that could be you with those names.
Got
I'd
Sean
love to
O'Malley
see
right
it.
on there.
What's that?
John O'Malley.
Sean.
Look how he's turned out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the route I would take preferably. Who's coaching that? Do y'all know?
We don't know yet. Who would you like to see coach?
Who are my choices?
Personally, I would like to see Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman coach. I think that'd be some good TV.
I think Colby would bring the good TV, but Kamaru is just cringe on the mic to me, bro. I don't know.
He really is.
I think he would just run out of his energy. Would just run out. I think, and he would just be dry.
All right, how about this? Replace Usman with Masvidal.
That sells, and it makes sense because isn't that the next fight they're supposed to make anyway?
I don't think so. I think it is Usman and Covington. No, actually, it's Usman
And
Burns.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be
I
Colby and
think I remember seeing something about that fight supposed to be getting made. So
But
That
hey,
would sell. And they're
that would
both
sell.
and they're both about the money. They both can draw. They were fucking best friends. Probably still are. Let them talk their shit and make their money, man. That would be some good TV, man.
All right, but when that fight evidently eventually happens, who do you got in that one?
Colby Covington. Easy.
I think it'll be an easy. I think it's just a bad matchup for Masvidal there. Matt, what do you think about that fight?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, we saw that with the Usman bout. I mean, Colby Covington's going to do the exact same thing. It's going to be just a replica of that bout.
Yeah, I believe so as well. Jorge is good.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask
someone
you.
lets them be good. If you get what I'm saying.
Hey, Ty, I was going to ask you a question too. I'm sorry about the Twitter comments not coming in, but I shared your knockout. Okay, on Twitter, we have a kind of a big following on the AYS network, and people are just asking questions on top of that. One question was when you kick. I don't know who this guy is, but he says, "Hey, when you kicked old boy in the head, did that hurt you as much as it did him?" I think because look, I've never kicked a human being in my life in the head. But he's like, "Damn, Paul, you just obliterated this guy."
You're down bad, bro.
I mean, look, I'm just telling you what the fans are wanting right now, man. But seriously, when you kick somebody like that, when you punch someone like that, you know, like me playing college football, like when you play defense, you got to expect pain yourself to give pain. Is that the same in fighting? Like when you go through something like that, and I'm gonna get the Twitter comments in here too. But that was a question. Does it hurt you as much as it hurts the other guys? Well,
no. So, like, I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, maybe it does because when they get knocked out, they don't feel anything, right? But no, it's funny. The people think the big shots, the ones that those are the shots that knock people out. That those aren't the ones, man. It's the ones where you just barely throw and it just touches the right spot. And just the element of surprise, I think, is a big thing. And like that one, when you hit a clean shot, it feels like nothing. It feels like you didn't hit anything. And I just slapped that foot up there and it just smoked him in the chin and then, bink.
I like that question. That was probably my favorite question someone's ever asked a fighter. When you kick somebody in the head, did it hurt you as much as it hurt them? It's like bad discipline in their kid.
Nick Burge, though, he took that fight on probably 2 weeks' notice because the other guy dropped out, and he still showed up to fight too. So, love Nick Burge. Nothing but respect for him, dude. True fighter.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
And to his defense too, I mean, because he's putting the comments in here, and all he hears is the pow. You know, like he hears a big pop. So when you're kicking someone with the chin, they're like, "Hey, man, I mean, punch your shin." You know, I think it just again, as a normal human being, they're like, "Bro, that's just so wild." Like you
stupidest sport in the world.
But so anyway, I'm defending the AYS following right now. He just sent me a message saying, "Blake, this dude just tattooed this dude in the forehead with a chin. What the fuck am I saying?" That's exactly it. Anyway.
Yeah, man. Crazy sport.
Next time you throw a head kick, just tell your boy, "Hey, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you."
Yeah, man. Gage Gill, hopefully he feels a few of them bitches.
Hey, I can't wait to see it, man. So, next fight, when is it?
2 weeks from tomorrow, bro.
2 weeks from tomorrow. All right, just make sure I get my dates right.
The last hard spar of the camp tonight, man. What was it, boys? 12, 13 rounds? 13 rounds, bro. Easy. And I'm sick. And I still went 13 rounds.
You ain't got the COVID, dude. You ain't got the cocoa?
I had that before, bro.
Oh, you had it. So you got the antibodies.
That's what they told me. Nothing I ain't think, but that's what they told me.
All right, Austin, man. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate y'all having me, man. Love y'all show. Gage Gill, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, bro. Hope you come to fight. All respect, though.
All respect.
Just show up and fight me, man. I just want a good fight. This will be the first time that I actually get a full fight camp on one opponent. And
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, so hopefully it shows up. Yeah, man. Appreciate
Thank you
y'all
for joining the club. You're the first
Yeah. Thanks
AYS
for coming on.
member. Hopefully we do well, right?
and you will. We're gonna have
Yeah,
you on whenever you want. Whenever you want to come
Before
on,
you get out of here,
we'll
my
have you.
bad, my bad, D, my bad,
Oh, that's
D.
fine.
Hey, Austin, before you get out of
What
here,
y'all want?
yeah, hey, before you get out of here, man, promote yourself, social media and stuff, everything. Where can people follow you and go watch all your fights and stuff like that?
I don't actually like to post my fights. Try to
Okay.
keep that off. But I mean, you can find them on Fight TV and stuff like that. But Instagram _Austin Swallow _ I believe. Twitter as well. Facebook Austin Swallow. Hey, real quick, I want to give a shout out to all my sponsors. First off, Performance
Absolutely.
Evolution, PE Gang, Josh Quahagan, all my teammates, Larry Wallace, Nevin, Patrick, Colin, Connor, all my boys. Love every one of them dudes. They make this is a rough sport, and they make this sport so much better. Also, Head Kicks Lafayette, Aaron Phillips in the UFC, Tyler Hill, Dayton, Justin Rowe, all them boys, man, they give me awesome work every week. They take me in like their own. And sponsors, Brent Nunez, AC Supply, Jonathan Barrett Motorsports. Also, Game to Life. That's the shirt I'm rocking right now, boys. So we lost our gym, as y'all know.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude named Justin McCord, great guy, Lake Charles native. He owns a business called Game to Life. It's a tactical laser tag place, axe throwing as well. Him and Josh are buddies, and he actually let us set up a makeshift gym for the time being inside of his business, man. So that's where we're able to train right now. Fucking big shouts to Judson, man, for letting us do that. Yeah, man, that's about all I got right now, man. I'm ready to fight. Gulf Coast, appreciate y'all. James Sharp, Aaron Williams, always put on a great show. And I'm ready to go out there and do my thing, man. Fucking 3-2 and still.
And hashtag and still and Demas, he's coming for you.
Coming for you. Just win your fight. I'm gonna win my fight, and let's run that bitch back.
Let's do it. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, boys. Later.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. All right. So, Matt, before he came on, we were talking about Ultimate Fighter. So, when you think about Ultimate Fighter, man,
Hey, first off, what a hell of an interview by the two of you.
that was my first ever interview.
Thank you.
That's a hell of an interview. Congratulations. You did well. Okay, that was a great interview. But just great job, guys.
Shout out whoever asked him, did that head kick hurt you more than that? That was funny as hell.
Well, I think a little bit too. It's because if you go on Twitter, and I'm not going to play it right now because it was on a pay-per-view, I believe, and I don't want to
like
continue, okay? But if you go on Twitter like I just did and you listen to it, okay, like Austin when he kicked at that dude, I mean, it's like it literally is pow, okay? And so, there you go. And so there he is right there. Look, for 3 weeks, I've been asking you guys because I've never done jiu-jitsu or fighting. People don't understand it, and what you guys are bringing into them is bringing them behind the curtain, right? Like, so for example, people always ask the question, "What does make Drew Brees so great?" Well, people want to know that more about fighting because they've played football before, right? Like, so they have kind of that concept, but what they don't have is the fighting concept. Ain't a lot, as Mike Tyson would say, ain't a lot of people got punched in the face before. They don't understand. So, although it's a really funny question, if it hurt them more than it hurt the other dude, I think it also said something big there too, in the sense of, hey man, he's knocked out. It probably did hurt me more than it hurt him. And I think that's what the general fighter wants to know. But anyway, I'm out. Y'all keep going on. Y'all are absolutely killing it.
Thank you. Thanks, boss. So as I was saying, so back to the Ultimate Fighter. So it is coming back. We don't know who the coaches are. It's going to be filming in March. So what is your fondest memories of the Ultimate Fighter? Because that show brought tons of people in, especially that Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonnar fight. And our viewers, if you've never seen that fight, do yourself a favor. That is one of the best fights of all time. That is the fight that put UFC over that huge hump to becoming mainstream.
Yeah, I mean, before the Ultimate Fighter, fighters were just that. They were looked at by the public as fighters. They were looked at as brutes, beating the hell out of each other in a cage for no reason. And when you were brought into the Ultimate Fighter, into the house, you got to see their personalities. You got to see these are people, and that's why I do a lot of articles, right, for a lot of MMA sites, is I try to show every fighter's got a story. Every fighter has come from somewhere. They all have a background. They all do this for a reason. And I try to bring that to light because it gives you more of that personal feel to that person, more of that personal connection. And that's kind of what the Ultimate Fighter did on a much larger scale than what I'll ever do. Is you got to go and see every single one of these fighters, that they're a person and what makes them up. As far as memories, two come right to mind every single time. If you say tough, two things pop right into mind. Obviously, the Stephan Bonner and the Forrest Griffin fight, but whenever Rampage Jackson tore that door apart, like for whatever reason, that just after his guy lost, he went over, he just beat the hell out of this door and tore the door apart. For whatever reason, just something about that memory sticks in my head.
That was one of the best memories. But I thought it was hilarious. Like he made busting a door up look so easy.
Yeah, it looked really easy.
It looked like that door was made out of cardboard box. It felt like, but it wasn't. That was a real door.
Every time he hit it, it put a hole in it, like elbow, knee. Every contact put a hole in that door.
Absolutely. But you said something like before the Ultimate Fighter, you're right. People just saw these cage fighters, as Senator John McCain called them, human cockfighters. That's all they saw them as, like these brutes who were nothing. But here comes the Ultimate Fighter, and you get a look at these guys. It humanized them. Like these weren't actually these brutes. It's just people fighting over asparagus in the house, like that. So that really brought people together. And Diego Sanchez doing yoga in his underwear and his little tidy whities, his little banana benders. It pulled back the curtain. It's like, wow, it's not a big bad wizard at all. It's just some little dork who rides hot air balloons like in Wizard of Oz. But the show just has so many good memories, and it's produced some of the best fighters we've ever seen walk the planet Earth. It's given us multiple champions. So do you have a favorite season by any chance?
Probably either season 1, obviously, because of all it produced, and I want to say it was season 7, the one that had Tim Crater, where Forrest Griffin was a coach. Yeah, I mean, and like you said, there's been several things throughout. I think it's kind of gotten watered down toward the end because there are things now like Contender Series. And if you look at the roster size back then and look at the roster size now, they just house so many more fighters. I mean, you look at a lot of these guys. Look at Bellator's card the other day. They had 4 and 5 fighters making their pro debut. Mm-hmm. I mean, you never would have had somebody making their pro debut in the UFC. Like, it never would have happened. But it's just getting to where these rosters are 10 times bigger than what they used to be.
I'm going to correct you on that. We did see a fighter make their MMA debut, their pro debut on UFC. That is Sir Phil Brooks, a.k.a. CM Punk.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
What a dumb experiment that was. I can't believe that ever happened. But we're getting off track there. But yeah, you mentioned season 7. That was the Tim Crater season where Rampage and Forrest Griffin were head coaches.
Yeah.
Probably my overall favorite season. I actually have that season on DVD. And I remember I was probably like 19 or maybe 20 at the time, I want to say I was probably 19. Irrelevant. But that was the first time you had to win a tournament. You had to win a fight just to get in the house. That was the first time that's ever happened. And I remember seeing Tim, and like my heart was pounding. Like it had no business. Like my blood pressure had no business being that high as a young adult. And when he won, I'm going to confess it right here. I ugly cried a little bit. Like that was a huge moment for me because that was like a local guy finally getting the spotlight. Yeah. So I was super proud of Tim for that.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I love Tim to death, and yeah, it was awesome because it was that, like you said, it was that first time, him and Rich Clementi and Kyle Bradley were kind of those first torchbearers for Louisiana MMA. I mean, Louisiana's always been a hotbed for MMA, and I mean they were kind of that first initiation. The original gladiators when it was based out of Baton Rouge. I mean, that first group, and then obviously now you have Dustin and Cormier, and then but now you have your next group coming with Brendan Allen and a lot of those guys. So it comes in waves, and Tim was a part of that very first wave to really put Louisiana on the map in the MMA world.
Hey guys, let me ask y'all this question, and I'm going to throw it very quickly. Does a guy like a Dustin Poirier, an Austin, a Cormier, because people in Louisiana didn't really follow, like big stream follow MMA until you have like a Cormier and a Dustin, do you think that brings people more in because they have that local guy fighting? Let me tell you this. Cormier brought me in. Conor McGregor kept me there. Okay, let me just be honest, because I'd watch it. But Cormier brought me in because I was like, hey, this dude from Louisiana is going against John Jones. I hope he wins. Do you think that's a reason why MMA here locally has gotten so big here over the last, let's say, 6 years?
Oh, without a doubt. And a lot of it has to do with the regional promotions that we have. We have a ton of regional promotions that are putting out great talent. We have Bayou Fighting Championship in the New Orleans area, Atlas Fights in the Biloxi area, which is where I'll be. Empire Fighting Championship is also based out of there. You have Gulf Coast MMA in the Hattiesburg area. So you have all these regional territories, and these guys have amazing followings. Like it's unreal, the followings. If I put out an article from a regional fighter and I put out an article on a UFC fighter, I can guarantee you that regional fighter article is going to have a ton more views. It's a fact. They just have these followings at that level. Amateur, pro, it doesn't matter. Just regional. They have, the people want to see them because of that. They have that tie. They have that personal connection. Maybe not even to the fighter, but just, hey, he's from the same town as me, or hey, we went to the same high school, or you have a lot more of that being it's local. And yeah, I think that plays a huge part in. I think that plays a huge part in anybody being a fan of whatever team. I'm sure a lot of people are fans of the Kansas City Chiefs because of the number of LSU players they have. I don't know much about that. I kind of stick to my lane with MMA, but I know they have a handful of LSU players. So you may get a lot of Chiefs fans in Louisiana, and a lot of it's because, hey, and my parents are born and raised in Indiana, but they are diehard Boston Celtics fans, and that's because of Larry Bird. So you get a lot of that where it pulls you over because you have that local tie. And MMA has done the same thing. We've just been lucky to put out amazing talents like a Cormier and like a Poirier to grab more eyes and pull people in. And then even like Blake said, somebody like a McGregor to keep you in, somebody like a Ronda Rousey to keep you in, something like that to keep you there once you're there.
And as you said, we had guys here in like the early 2000s that just laid that foundation. Like we had Rico Rodriguez, we had Rich Clemente, we had our first legit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt come in and built like a huge foundation on the North Shore. Rafael L. Wagner, who's a close personal friend of mine, who's brought up guys that you and I know personally, like Kurt Holobaugh. Like he took Kurt under his wing and made him a total badass. And I cannot thank these pioneers enough. And we got Tim Crater over there in Lafayette just doing his thing. I mean, he's produced a lot of guys. Like he produced Poirier. And if you ever seen the documentary Fightville, and you'll know how much Tim Crater means to him. Like Louisiana has yet to really scratch the surface of its MMA potential. I feel like it's a big pulsating zit that's ready to pop.
Yeah, I mean, and just early we had somebody like Austin on. There's so many guys like this all throughout, and a lot of it I think is the culture. I think it's a lot of how just Louisiana, how just we live down here as a culture, just the mindset that we have, with athletics and just in general. And I think that has a lot to do with it. I mean, you have guys like I said, like Austin in Lake Charles, and then you got Tim like in Lafayette, and you got people in New Orleans like Tom Lee who just won the one championship. Right. In Singapore, based out of New Orleans, and that's the whole bottom part of the state. That's covering the whole state just with guys like that.
And in Northern Louisiana, who was it? Matt Schnell, Northern Louisiana.
Matt Schnell,
yeah.
He's a flyweight, a top-ranked flyweight in the UFC. Yeah, and he's got a fight coming up. He does commentary for AKA based out of Shreveport. So yeah, I mean it's up and down the state, left and right, whichever way you want to go. I mean it's booming. It's there.
And I even have like, no, I'm not kidding. I had like this, I teach 7th grade kids. And one of my 7th graders, straight A student, one of the nicest kids you ever meet. And he walks around with his little jujitsu jacket on. I've seen him grapple. He's like a prodigy as far as I'm concerned. Like I've never seen like a small, quiet kid like him do what he has done. It just blows my mind that the future is there. All you got to do is walk into these MMA gyms all over the South, Louisiana, and watch the kids' classes. If you go to Gracie United AME and watch the kids' classes, like this is something special being built in this state. Like it's going to boom very soon. It's going to be up there with like New Mexico, like the Albuquerque scene. It's going to be like Sacramento was back in the day. Like this place is ready for their fighters to like just hit that limelight and stay there. And speaking of which, we got Brendan Allen who's fighting this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. It's ready.
All right, and speaking of that, let's go ahead and get into that UFC fight night tomorrow night. It's going to be headlined by Thiago Santos and Glover Teixeira. So let's start off with this, the curtain puller for the main card. We got Claudia Gadelha versus Yan Xiaonan from China. I don't know much about Yan Xiaonan. I haven't watched much of her tape. I'm just going to be hand to God honest with this. I haven't had much time to, but I know what Claudia Gadelha brings, and I don't think they're just going to match her up with just a nobody like that. So what do you know about this?
Yeah, and especially with Claudia, she's been with Mark Henry her last couple fights. So she kind of hit a road bump there for a while, but she's won her last 2, and a lot of it has to do with that. Mark Henry has revitalized a lot of careers. He's helped grow a lot of careers. Frankie Eggers, striking coach, and yeah, he has a way of coaching. He's done that with Claudia. I know her opponent is like 5-0 in the UFC, a kind of a quiet 5-0. I think they're all decisions, but I mean, she's I think they're all unanimous decisions as well too. So I mean, but I just think because Claudia has kind of hit this new stride in her career, I think she's going to be able to keep the pressure on and keep control. And she's got this newfound confidence she has. I think she's going to go ahead and pull this one out.
I got to agree with you on that one. Our next fight, we got our local boy. We got Brendan Allen fighting Ian. I can't pronounce this cat's name. Heinz. That's a lot of vowels and not enough. I mean, it's a lot of consonants, not enough vowels for me.
Right.
So, but this is going to be a huge test for Brendan Allen. If you don't remember Ian, he's the guy who put Gerald Meerschaert out with he just cadoushed him with the overhand right and ground pound him in the submission. But then again, Brendan Allen, I think no bias aside, I'm not saying this because he's a local boy or anything. I think he's probably one of the most underrated fighters in the whole UFC promotion, in my opinion. Like, this dude just brings the kitchen sink with him. He brings his lunch pail into that octagon with him. He's ready to go. Fight, and of course, fighting out of Rufus Sport. He didn't keep his camp here, but I'll never fault him for that, for advancing his career his way. I love Brendan. I actually had a class with him at Southeastern. He's a really nice cat, but I think he's going to pull it out. And I'm not saying that just because he's from Louisiana.
Yeah, and that Kevin Holland win is looking better and better too by the day.
Oh, he beat the absolute piss out of Kevin Holland.
That win's looking better and better for Brendan Allen. I mean, he come in.
And that was his first fight in the Dana White Contender Series, but
off of the Contender
this was his
Series,
first time under the UFC lights. The cameras are on. The world's watching. All right, Brendan Allen, what you got? Oh, you got Kevin Holland. What did you do? You beat the dog shit out of him.
And now Allen's the first guy to 4 fights, and he's got another one in December, or to 4 wins, and he's got another one coming up in December. But I mean, Brendan Allen, he's comfortable on the feet, he's comfortable on the ground. When he gets on the ground, he looks so heavy on the ground. You just nailed that.
You
could just see it. He looks so heavy.
With 185, when he is on top of people, he looks like a damn heavyweight. The way they just can't move with him on top. The guy has the ground technique for days, because he comes from a family of grapplers. I've actually grappled with his dad back when his dad was training under Rafael. Mm-hmm. So his dad was a bad dude, and so was his older brother. Brendan is a very good cat. So I hope he gets it out there. I love Brendan. So yeah, our next fight we got Barcelos versus Tana. What you got on this one?
I got Barcelos. I think he's just what is this? He's 4-0, 5-0, whatever he's been, and then I know Khalid is coming off of that drug or diuretic suspended. He was suspended for a diuretic. Yeah, I mean, I just think Barcelos has got it. I mean, he's been obviously more consistent. And I don't know. You just never know how these guys are gonna come off of these suspensions, how it's affected them mentally. Um, yeah, like this has kind of been a running trend, and it always will be until we get to episode 1,000. The mental part to me is, going to be one of the first things I look at. You could be strong for days and fight for days, but can you mentally get in there and fight? And I don't know. I mean, he's got the striking, coming out of Germany. Most of those guys, they're pretty great with their striking. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Barcelos on this. He's looked really good.
Gotta take Barcelos too. It pains me to say that because he's the one who put Kurt away in the UFC, and
he
that
knocked him out.
Really hurt my heart. But on top of that, though, he beat a guy with the last name Nurmagomedov. He actually beat Habib's cousin.
Yeah.
He beat him. He beat him pretty decisively. So I think he's the favorite in this, and that's who I'm going to have to go with on that. Our co-main event, I just lost my page. Where'd it go? Oh, my gosh. How unprofessional of me. All right. Co-main event, Arlovsky, Pitbull. Somehow, some way, he is still in this damn sport. Versus Tanner Boser. Do you think this is the curtain call for Andrei Arlovsky, or do you think he's going to try and make another streak happen?
And I don't know. I looked it up. He made his debut in UFC 28. He had a handful of fights where he was out of the UFC in the middle, and
he had like the hair from the guy from Dodgeball. They're like look super similar.
Yeah, but I mean, man, he's been around forever. 41 years old, but still going. Tanner Boser is from Canada. He's fought in M1. He's fought in, ACB. So he's fought in a lot of these, bigger European organizations. And he's looked good. I mean, he seems like he's gotten more and more comfortable each fight in the UFC. His last couple fights were finishes, and they just seem to come more natural to him. More like his ACB days and, M1 days where, the octagon jitters is a real thing, from a lot of what fighters have said. So it just seems like he's more comfortable. But Arlovsky, man, you just every time you're ready to push him off, he comes back and he's right there. But I think Boser has shown on multiple occasions that he can grind you for 15 minutes, and if he can keep the pressure on Arlovsky, keep ahead on the scorecards, he can keep that pressure. He can strike with him. He's shown that he can go the 15 minutes. So I think Boser's going to get it. It's probably going to be a decision just because Arlovsky, he can stick around. He doesn't go away. And I think as long as Boser doesn't get upset with that and just stays calm and just fights the way he fights, as he's shown before, which I think he can because he's shown us obviously that he can do it,
right,
that he'll walk out with the decision.
I don't know. Good. I hope Tanner wins this. Nothing against Arlovsky. I love Arlovsky. I just need the heavyweight division just to open up. Like this division has been struggling for so long. We just need some new fresh blood in there. I love Arlovsky. He's a former champ. He's a legend of the sport, and he's given us the best trash talk I've ever heard across all sports. When Ariel Helwani was bringing up the attention about it was before an Affliction fight, he said, "Well, yeah, Tim Silva, he's dating your girlfriend, blah blah blah." And he was like, "All right, Tim, well, how tastes my pee?" I thought that was just the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. And I still say that to this day. If I'm playing a video game with a friend or a cousin, I do something like, "Oh yeah, how tastes my pee?" It just cracks me up every single time. If you're watching, you're listening, please YouTube Andrei Arlovsky, how tastes my pee. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. All right, main event time. Sorry about that. I had to throw that out there. Main event time. Thiago Santos versus Glover Teixeira. You bring up that mental part of it. he just came off a huge disappointing loss against John Jones. I had him up on my scorecards on this. And in the process, not only did he, in my opinion, did he beat John Jones for those 5 rounds, he fought like with I think it was a torn ACL, I think it was, or a PCL. What was it?
Yeah,
he
I don't
tore
remember
something
which
in his
one of
leg.
those CLs, yeah.
So that was all him.
Yeah, and I think it's not going to weigh the same mentally because he's going to know. I mean, he knows that, man, I almost beat John Jones with this ailment, and a lot of people think that I did beat John Jones. So I think it may be a confidence booster to him that, hey, and John Jones is out of here now. I can, make a run at this division.
Austin, I'm just saying.
We got Austin upset.
Austin, I'm sorry, man. I'm just saying. I thought Thiago Santos won that fight. I had him up 3 rounds to 2. That's just me, though. I'm not a Nevada State Athletic Commission judge, so my opinion really doesn't freaking matter in this. So that's who I had winning that. But I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I think Glover Teixeira is going to take this one, but all because of Dominic Reyes shitting the bed against Jan Blachowicz. We all thought that Dominic Reyes was going to come in with that confidence boost that, I went 5 rounds with John Jones. It was a controversial decision. I had Jones winning that fight. But I think that Jones 2, 3, 5. You cannot give round 2 to John Jones. Please go back and watch that. If you say, but hey, you're the guest. You're the first member. If you say Jones wins 2, 3, 5, I guess he won 2, 3, 5. Who am I to argue? I'm not an NSAC judge. But I'm gonna take Glover Teixeira. He's got a lot of momentum behind him, and Thiago Santos is coming off of surgery. He's coming off a layoff and a disappointing loss, and so therefore I think Teixeira takes that.
And Teixeira, this is his last chance. I mean, he's on a run right now, and he knows this is very important. There's a lot of desperation in this run too. So I mean, he's got a lot on the table as well. It could go either way, which is what you want in a main event. You want something close, and both these guys, with I guess Jan's going to be taking on Izzy, or I don't know if they're going to do it. We'll see if Izzy can get up to the weight. I don't know what's going to happen with all that now, but
Austin, I just told you I thought Jones beat Reyes. I just said Santos beat Jones, in my opinion. I'm with you on that. I thought Jones beat Reyes 4-1. That was all. That's how I saw it.
But yeah, no, it's going to be a good main event though. Yeah, because I mean, both of them, they have a lot to prove, and that can kind of get washed up when you have so many. You got an event every weekend. You can kind of your main events can get to where they don't mean anything, but this one means a lot. It really does. Both of them are kind of on a run right now, and both of them need this if they want to get that shot, that potential next shot.
All right, Austin, you can talk John Jones all day. I'm even throwing this out here, Austin. Every time John Jones news gets brought up or he has a fight coming up, you'll be our official John Jones spokesman for the AYS Fight Club. That's your job now. Congratulations, you're hired. All right, so also, what we got coming up tomorrow? What else we got coming up? Oh, we got Bellator. Aaron Pico's back in the mix. Was supposed to be Bellator's golden child. It really hasn't been going his way, getting knocked out 3 times in spectacular fashion, but he's gone on. Hey, Austin's in. He's our official John Jones spokesman. Thank you, Austin. All right, so Aaron Pico versus De Jesus. What do you think about this one?
Pico's one of those guys, kind of what we were talking about earlier, where, Bellator has got Ed Ruth was probably one too, where they had no MMA experience and they were just kind of brought into it. So the light has shined on them, so they get a lot more heat probably than what most other fighters would get, where they could take those bumps on the regional scene. He's had to take his bumps in Bellator under the bright lights. So his bumps are a lot more obvious than what someone who takes the exact same bumps on the regional scene. I like Aaron Pico. I think he'll get it together. I mean, so I think he'll get it. But yeah, like I said, I mean, he takes his bump like every other fighter, but except his are just on a brighter stage, so it gets brought out a little bit more.
Right. I strongly agree with that. And the dude has all the the pedigree behind him.
Oh yeah,
He's a world class boxer. You could tell the dude has that it factor. I compare him to Sean O'Malley. You can't really you just can't put your finger on like what makes this guy so great, but you just know that he's great. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Like, you know that it's like watching a singer audition for American Idol. Like, you don't have to watch too much of them to know that, hey, this cat is going to go far in this competition. So I think Pico's going to pull it out. I think his career is still young. He's going to pull it all together, and he is going to be a star in the sport one day. All right, in our main event, we got Pedro Carvalho versus Patricio Freire. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go with Carvalho.
You got the upset.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with an upset. Bellator they're starting to get back to where they're having events, every week. So it's good to see them kind of getting back into it. And yeah, I mean, just I'm gonna go with a little upset here.
All right, I can't fault you for that because you know why? I'm going with the upset too. Yes, also that is called the it factor. He does have that it factor. All right, so Patricio Pitbull. I love the Pitbull brothers a lot, but I think their time has come. His last fight against Juan Archuleta, it wasn't exactly his best performance, but before that though, he put Mike Chandler away quickly, like quick. But then again, you're only as good as your last fight. And then he was supposed to already fight Pedro, and that bout got canceled due to COVID. And so now we're finally seeing it. I think Pedro pulls this one out. All right, so that's the Bellator card. I'm sorry, I just got a whole bunch of text at once. All right, so Atlas fights. You're going to be there, man. So tell us about it. AJ Fletcher, who's he fighting?
I'll be there. Atlas fights 57. It'll be tomorrow from the Mississippi Coast Coliseum. If you can't make it to the fights, you can get it on Fight TV. It's normally around $15. So, I mean, right now I think there's 9 fights on the card, 5 pro fights. AJ Fletcher will be defending his welterweight title against James Freeman Jr. James Freeman Jr. is based out of Florida. He's fought a lot on island fights. He's fought a lot of the bigger names. I mean, he's fought, just about any big name that's come out of, Brock Weaver, just any of those names. So, you see his losses, but they're, as we were talking about earlier, it's not like padded. A lot of people want to pad their records and all this. It's nothing like that. He takes the hardest fight available, and obviously this is such with AJ, who's 5-0 as a pro. So. I talked to AJ before, and he said this is really a fight that he needs to take. He's really shooting for the next 2 or 3 fights, and then try to work his way into the UFC's door. And he said, I need to take on fights like this. I need to fight people who have fought people, and then work to where you fight the people. It's an evolution. You gotta work your way up. And he said, I'm ready to take that step where I fight, these guys that have been in there with tough people and been in tough scenes and show that I can get in there. And then in the co-main event, you got the heavyweights.
Love the heavyweights. When it comes to local fights, man, those heavyweights are the most entertaining. I love local MMA heavyweights better than I love UFC, Bellator, ONE FC heavyweights. And I don't know what it is about local heavyweights that just make them so much better than the big league heavyweights. Yeah,
you got Cam, the Big Mac Graham, taking on Brandon Hebert. So that's definitely going to be a good fight. Hebert, I think his last 3 fights have been a total of a minute and 49 seconds or something, adding up the fights. And I talked to him too. He was like, man, he said, I just go in there and try to get out. I don't go in there and try to, think about getting in as fast as possible, go running through somebody. So just go in there, do what I got to do, I train, I know my game plan, I go in there and I do it and I get out. And if it's 30 seconds, it's 30 seconds. And then talk to Cam, same thing. He's like, hey, I know what I'm getting in there with. He said, but I know what I am too. So he's ready to get in there. That's going to be a lot of weight in the cage. That's two boys that are going to push the 265 at the weigh-ins.
Yes, indeed.
That's two big boys you got there.
But they will not miss weight, unlike a certain UFC heavyweight that just missed. Well, he didn't miss it, but he almost missed it. Mr. Greg Hardy, looking at you, sir. Can't be a heavyweight missing weight.
And there's another one we got is Chris Miller. He's out of Houston. He's taking on Justice Lamperez out of Gladiators Academy of Lafayette. Both of them have Chris Miller had started out rough, and then he got a win over Jean Baptiste, who's a very tough fighter out of the Lafayette area. Fights out of Head Kicks MMA. At Bayou Fighting Championship, he pulled out the win. I was there for that win. I was cage side for that one. And yeah, I mean that was a big win for him. So we'll see if he can kind of propel off of that. Justice Lamperez, very tall, lanky fighter. At first, I think his amateur record was like 7-8, but he didn't use his length. He didn't use his natural abilities. As he turned pro, he's starting to use more and more of his natural abilities, starting to use his length and just he comes at awkward angles. He's really hard to get a grasp on, and he's getting better and better at using that. And then we got who else we got? We have a female fight, which always is the potential for fight of the night on the regional scene when you got the female fight. Evelyn Da Silva from Texas and Whitney Kimball, who is another Gladiators of Crowley, which is where Brandon Abair comes out of, making her debut. So anytime you got a female fight, that's a big one there. Another heavyweight fight is Vincent Brown. He's out of Baton Rouge. He's making his debut. Russell Jones from Russell Jones Kickboxing is his head coach. And Josh and Sarah Davila from Alpha 06 are his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coaches. So he's got a very strong, and he's got a multi-time Shotokan karate champion. So he's got that striking background, and obviously
I will personally attest to this. I do own karate a lot, and that Shotokan karate is a bad art. It really is.
Yeah.
But I've come to grow and appreciate karate a whole hell of a lot recently. Whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, and then he's been working with Josh and Sarah Davila out of Baton Rouge for his jiu-jitsu. Josh has been a pro, one of the early pros. He's got almost 30 pro fights, brown belt. And he's been working a lot with them for his ground game. So he's going to be, for a heavyweight, he's going to be really polished coming in with no experience. A lot of times your heavyweights, especially when they're 0-0, they come in there, they're just swinging, going, balls to the wall when they get in there. But I think he's going to be a lot more reserved. I think he's going to be, and I've talked to him too. He's like, man, he said, I'm surprised that I'm not more anxious and not more, kind of, nervous. He said, I feel good. He said, I've been training. I know what I'm supposed to do, and I'm good with that. So that's always interesting to see. That's one of the fun things about the regional MMA is seeing these guys make their debuts, because you just don't know what you're going to get. And I think they don't know what they're going to get either. So it's just when you see that unravel in front of you, it's like an awesome thing. It's like watching a baby crawl, or watching a kid take their first step.
Absolutely.
You get to be a part of that. And you can see it, evolve in front of you.
And another thing I love about the local scene
is when you who's.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
Like I was saying, I'm sorry. But
no.
I'm sorry for cutting you off. But what I love most about the local scene is that you see these guys week in and week out. But on the local scene, you see huge steps in growth. So that's like my favorite part about the local scene, seeing these guys grow right in front of your eyes. Like you said, it's like a baby taking its first steps.
Oh yeah, and all of these pros probably. I gave you 6 pros, maybe 4 out of 5 I've seen them since their amateur days. So to see them come from amateur, work their way up to pro, like AJ, I saw him fight as an amateur. He's a 5-0 pro, one of the, hot, most touted, prospects, in MMA right now. So to see those guys from amateur work their way up to pro, to see that evolution is amazing. And also Christian Smith is going to be with me doing the commentary. He's also doing being the ring announcer, so he's pulling double duty. Last time double duty didn't go so good because every bout ended in a knockout or submission except the main event. So as soon as he would come sit down, like he had to get back up and go back into the cage. So he got his workout at the last Atlas event. So I mean, yeah, to have that composure, I love working with Christian. He's an awesome dude. So I'm looking forward to it. Atlas always puts on a good show. It'll be inside the Mississippi Coast Coliseum. And then that next Friday, we'll be at AKA, which is, where Demas Chapa will be battling Jordan Woodall. And then the week after that, Austin will be defending his title. So we got a whole long string of events the next couple of weeks. Bayou Fighting Championship is supposed to be back on
saw that.
December 11th.
Saw Tim share that post. I can't wait to see more of that.
So as much as possible, quote unquote, normalcy, we're starting to get back to us, at least here, on the regional MMA scene. I talked to Mr. James Georgetown. He does a lot of the matchmaking for many of the organizations. He said, AKA, he said, they're going to be doing COVID testing and all that, and they're going to be doing the full extent. Mr. Glimmatina does a great job with that at Atlas. They, at weigh-ins, they do the COVID testing. They have the results the next morning. He'll get his phone call at 7, 8 o'clock the next morning if there's any, tests. And each event, it's been less and less. I think there was like maybe 3 at the first one and then 1 at the next one. And there was none at the last event. So, you do the best you can. I mean, they wear their masks. They come down, get weighed in, they get out. They go quarantine to their room, get that call the next morning that everything's good. And, so, I mean, that dealing with that as well, too, that's a whole new aspect, too, for these regional promotions to deal with right now, too.
Yeah, man. All right. Anything else on the Atlas card we should know about?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, I mean,
I heard their color commentator is like one of the coolest dudes out there.
Man, get Fight TV just to hear the color commentator.
That's what I'm doing.
To hear the color commentator alone, it is worth it.
I'm dropping the $15 just to hear color commentary.
That's it. Turn up the commentator, no, but I mean, and just a couple fights at the top of the card, seeing guys like Brandon Hebert and AJ Fletcher, just those guys alone are worth it. You got a handful of amateurs, like I said, watch these guys evolve, and you'll see it during the fight. I mean, you'll see them, during the fight evolve, especially when there's 0 fights under their belt, 1 fight under their belt. You see them get confident just more and more as it goes. So if you really watch it, it's an amazing. But yeah, no, I mean, check it out. I mean, that'll be tomorrow. And then from then on, regional MMA is picking up, and hopefully this is the ball rolling back to normalcy.
Yeah. And people, all you watching out there, if you've never seen a local MMA event, I cannot recommend this enough. Go download the Fight TV app, pay your $15. Like, these local fights are some of the most entertaining fights out there. I know a lot of people who watch MMA, they hate the ground aspect of it, but you don't really see much of that at the local scene. You just see guys go out there, they go gung-ho. Like, these guys are more willing to showcase what they have out there on the local scene. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, it does seem it's a lot more action. I mean, if you do get a ground guy, I mean, it's obvious that he is just amazing on the ground.
Right, and those fights end super quick anyway.
Yeah. You'll see Gabriel Vanderlei from he was at Rufus Sport. He actually just opened his own gym in Milwaukee now. I mean,
exactly
he fought Austin. I think he fought Austin Carter a couple Atlases ago, and just the way he was just rolling around on the ground. I mean, it was art. And if you see that on the regional scene, it's somebody like that with just high level groundwork. So
ground fighting's super amazing when you have like a very high skilled jiu-jitsu guy versus somebody who doesn't know what the hell they're doing on the ground. That's why if you watch like the ADCC championship, the Abu Dhabi championships or the Pan Ams, that's some real boring stuff because it's just too high. It's like watching 2 people play chess. But whereas you see the black belt versus the guy who never even tied a belt around his gi. It's like watching Mike Tyson go up against like this kid in a wheelchair. It's super wrong, but it's funny. It's entertaining.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and once we finish up here, I'm actually about to head to Biloxi. So get all my things together there, get all my notes together. So, definitely looking forward to it. I love it. This is my favorite time, that day before and that day of the fight, I love it just as much as the fighters do. So I'm looking forward to it myself.
Yes, sir. But before we go, let's talk about one more thing. Let's talk about the news that has broken last weekend. We got our super fight. We got Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz. I mean, last time we saw these two dudes was on the same card, and the very next week we were both on a high because we both picked Jan to beat Dominic Reyes, and we both picked Izzy to beat Costa. They both did that in the second round, and now like they're knocking us off this time because now it's like two parents watching their kids fight, and it's going to be for the 205 strap. So who do you got in that one? I already know who you got. I shouldn't even ask you.
I think Jan is just going to catch him with something. I mean, because
let's go. This is a Jan Blachowicz show, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. We are.
I love Israel Adesanya, but I'm here for Jan Blachowicz. I am a Jan stan through and through.
We are pro anybody who has ever come through KSW, but I mean, especially Israel saying he's not going to bulk up for it. So I mean, I don't know where the weight's going to come from, but
oh, here we go.
The boss don't like that answer. But yeah, I mean, Jan knocks heavyweights out, and somebody like Israel, I mean, it takes one punch. A knockout artist, it takes them, a ground specialist, it may take them 10, 15 minutes to get, work chest. Like you said, it's more of a chess game. For a knockout specialist, it takes 1 second.
Right.
You just got to hit them once and that's it. There is no recall. There is no mulligan. The ground game, you can kind of work your way. You get stuck in something, you can fight your way out. You get hit by a big guy like Jan, there is no mulligan. It's done,
Right.
And that's all it takes.
And you pretty much stole my next talking point was when Izzy said he was not going to bulk up for that. Wrong move, dude. Wrong move. That's the main reason, all joking aside, that's why I am picking Jan in this fight.
Yeah.
That Polish power is real. And he's going to get caught. And just that strength differential right there, that's going to be the biggest factor of that fight. And that's why I'm taking Jan with because I think Izzy's opening up at, I think it was -300.
Yeah.
And there goes Blake just hitting that wrong button. That was good. All right, Matt, anything else before we go, man?
I think that's it.
All right. Before we get out here, I'm going to give a special shout out to our very first sponsor again. That was Pristine Lawn Care. Let me get back to it. Where is it? All right, Pristine Home and Lawn Care. It's a locally licensed and insured lawn care and residential commercial power washing service. It cleans everything from brick and siding, driveways, parking lots, roofs, fences, and more. It will pressure wash everything but your dirty butt. Bundle your home wash with lawn care and receive 15% off from now until the end of 2020. Like and share our Facebook page after you receive your free quote for an additional 10%. And make your house pristine again. Do yourself a favor. Get that 25% off. It's a sale. I'm a bargain hunter. Let's get that deal. What do you have to lose? All right, so that's our show, everybody. Thanks for joining the club tonight. Matt, anything else?
That's it. First rule, AYS Fight Club. Tell all your friends about AYS Fight Club. Make sure you get that like, share.
And thanks for Austin Swallow for coming on. Thank you, Austin.
Definitely, Austin. We appreciate it.
You're the official John Jones spokesman of AYS Fight Club. All right. See y'all later.